You obviously are here to talk about bookkeeping and quoting. It's amazing how many have attended today. I know that we couldn't all fit in a room, so the technology is making this possible. If I can just commence. This is who we are. We want to help you. Life is a classroom. Let us into your classroom. It's about helping you learn how to do a quote. I'm your presenter today. I'm Darlene LaFond. 35 years in business, 10 of them being in banking and finance, and 26 of them being with a self-employed relationship. We are your reality webinar for bookkeepers. I would like to say that this is our testing environment. The relationships we have with our clients has helped us present these tools to you. I want to give some thanks to the following. Sorry, I'm just trying to get into the mode, you guys. I'm a little nervous still. Thanks to the following people: our internal development team, testing and assisting me in even the text, Master Tax Specialist, Certified Professional Bookkeepers, the University of Alberta Marketing degree graduate, whose birthday is today. Happy birthday. Nate, second-year business degree student, and our software development team, our angels, in disguise. Webminton Media, if you ever are looking for web design or software online, I highly recommend them. I say that with hesitation, though, because I have plans for them in the next few months. I have about 4 other online products that I want to automate that we've been using internally through Excel. So Kelly and David made a commitment to us, but I definitely want to encourage you to contact them if you're looking for some services. Regarding your questions during the webinar, we definitely want to answer them all. I'm very pro about helping. That's why I'm here today. More about selling? No. More about helping. So in the event we do not answer your posted questions, either during or at the allocated time at the end, you will be provided a personalized answer via email. And don't forget, on our website, there's a contact us, frequently asked question section that can also help you. Again, this software online will be launched after today's webinar, and our software team is making due diligence to have a bunch of questions on there for you, and answers, obviously. So, Bookkeeper's Quote. It's about helping you create client quotes fast, easy, and accurately. We use it. We've been using it. It complements our billing system, our invoicing method. We've always wanted to automate it, so we've designed this exclusively for bookkeeping and accounting service businesses globally. Yes, it addresses global businesses. Online software enabling the user to engage with their potential client, resulting in a service quote and a contract that both the client and the user can rely on for future reference. There is a print option available. In the event that you want them signing, of course you're going to have to be able to print, but the attachments you'll see as we go further on. This quote is about establishing trust. How to communicate with the expressed interest in getting to know your potential client. It's going to establish how important you are to your client's business. The profile, there's a profiling method in the quote that's going to help you complete a profile of your client's business needs. The accountability to the services you provide, it's going to provide your client as well as yourself accountability to the services. It's about relationship building. It's a value-added service. You're going to impress them with your ability to provide extra services that they didn't even think they were going to need. Invest in the beginning. Your clients are going to stay longer, and they'll do less price shopping. Spending that extra minute. There's going to be methods shown here by using the system we have, showing you how you can save money and time for yourself as well as the client. There's going to be a clear job description. It's going to be outlined to satisfy the client's expectations. It's going to be clear as to what you're supposed to provide for them. There's going to be lists of information required from the client. It's going to be clear what information and items you need. Provides the opportunity for the client to identify the tasks they are doing and you are doing. Identify ways to reduce your client's accounting fees. By helping them plan, it always helps and saves money and time. There's advantage in communicating. Recognizing the advantage in communicating about the value-added services you will provide their businesses. I see we still have people joining us, you guys. I'm sorry about the noise. I neglected to mention that there's some people in the room with me helping me stay on technology. I don't have a problem talking like most women, but anyway, we're talking about earning more now. Several services provided are listed on the quote by the bookkeeper. Justified expectations of the bookkeeper at the commencement of the relationship with the client. You can actually count the actual flow of information. There's going to be a quality control mechanism. This holds them accountable as well as yourself to the information. It can be adjusted to accommodate the levels of the ability of any bookkeeper. Time settings can be adjusted, and you'll see those issues later. Monitor what is actually being done. Faster, more accurate bookkeepers will benefit. There's a quality control ability that will show you what your quote initially was estimated at and what you're actually costing the client, and recognize purely if it's because you're taking longer or that the client has more information that you're processing. So let's get started. It's an easy tool. Get you started quickly. Maintain a list of each client's quotes. Print professional-looking quotes. Produce an invoice. In 30 minutes, this easy tool will help you and your clients establish the information you need to accomplish a detailed quote and a contract. Bookkeeper's Quote is really a communication tool and a checklist and a contract. Obtain information about your client, profile your client, show the value-added services you have for them. When the client asks for the service and how much it will cost, that's the time you want to be talking to them about establishing what the costs are and knowing exactly what you're supposed to do with them. Get you started. This program will get you started quickly with proven preset standard rates, or you can set your own. It maintains a list of all your clients' quotes you've created, in the sense that you can actually create several under one company name, and that you'll understand why you'd want to do that later. Print professional-looking quotes with detailed quote parameters and a contract term. Produce an invoice matching the detailed quote parameters. This feature of producing an invoice can be within the quote itself, or you can actually use Simply Accounting or QuickBooks. So I see my relationship to the quote itself. I have used it. I'm using it. This opportunity for you to use what we use internally already is based on a subscription from C2 Online. We have the results of the quote, the poll, pardon me, you guys. Do you try to minimize your random communications with the client on what the client wants from you? 60% of you who are attending voted, and that 72% said yes, you minimize your random communications, and 24% of you said, the math doesn't add up, but anyway, 24% of you said no. That's something to learn about productivity, about the communication issue. And you'll see within the quote that you actually address that in your communications with the client right when you're making your quote. So talking about the money, of course, we want to make sure that you understand the obligations and the opportunities, the value-added service we provide you with that $17.95. There is some restrictions. The URL address, you're only allowed 3 locations per subscription. But we've got a solution for you if you desire. The idea that some of you are actually mobile bookkeepers and you might be doing your quotes in the client's location and your provider readdresses your URL address every time you move locations. We want you to know that we are open to you contacting us. We want to address that issue with you. We want you to see that we're open-minded. We also want to suggest to you some alternatives. So asking it for a blanket URL, or consider pre-qualifying your clients over the phone. You know, do you really even want to be making that trip to the client? The clients may be large enough to want to be subscribing to us for our other 80 tools and templates. And that 80 tools and templates is endless, you guys. I have a storefront, 2,200 clients, and we have a lot of products that we're going to be adding to this 80 tools. So there's no end to it. It's not like you wouldn't want to join us. If you don't join us this month, you might want to join next month. Do your quote at your office. Doing it over the phone, you might decide that that's not a personal attach to it, but again, that's the alternative to the 3 URL address. So let's start. Starting the software. This is the first real picture of it you guys are probably seeing. This is the home page. It's got a database ability to manage your clients. The new quote button and the edit client button is the database. If you've listed a quote, and you'll see the quotes listed, I played a lot, the business name being my storefront, Morinville Business Center, and the quote description, we'll get into explaining what that's about, but you can see that those different quote descriptions are all types of ways you can play and manipulate with the quote. The list does create by date, chronological, and to the right of it you'll see that there's a view contract and edit details. So that's where you would, once you've created your quote, you're going to go back in and maybe edit it or change it, establish communications why there's a change in the invoice maybe. Now the time setting button, the one to the far right top, that's where you could customize your time settings, and we're not recommending you play with that until you really understand the method. But it does provide a list of all the various tasks that are chosen by a quote, and you can amend the times to reflect maybe a slower bookkeeper or a faster bookkeeper. This is where also you would have your list of invoices if you chose to use the software to do your invoicing. So now we've stepped into creating a client. This name is what will appear on the contract. The software designers, there's so many added features. These guys were great. You know, simple Excel worksheet that we were using between tasks. They've created a great database method. You can see that provides you even an opportunity to put their address as well as contact information. This is the feature where you would want to use the quote title to describe your different quotes. If you recall back 2 screens prior, you saw that I did a year-end quote only, or I did a January to March quote. This is by using a quote title description. You can have several quotes under one client. And invoicing, again, you know, you might decide that you're going to be invoicing the exact quote that you have. So the Edit Client button at the Bookkeeper's Quote homepage, again, for the database. A similar screen appears when you're creating the new client. The search panel would not be present. So when you actually select Edit Client, once you've created a database of clients, you can use the search panel to locate a client by just typing the first few characters of their business name and click Search. A list of matching clients will appear on the drop-down list. Step 1 is the profile, and you know, there's 3 easy steps to this. We found it very important in our office to establish who our client was before we even talked about taking their box in. The clients that dropped off their box and didn't want to talk about it to us first normally were the clients that had a problem with price or had a problem with the government. So we're about establishing the business's lifestyle. You want to utilize this time with the client to establish what type of business they have. What people are responsible for the business affects the profile of what is wanted to what is needed. Recognize opportunity to provide value-added service. Gain some trust from your client by showing your interest in ensuring all the jobs to be completed are assigned to you or them. What I found in this 26 years of doing this, and since 1994 doing bookkeeping for clients, they don't really know all the jobs, and sometimes they just assume you're going to do it. The annual return in Alberta is a popular example for me. I don't know how many times, if we just neglected in the beginning to talk about the annual return, we find out that the bookkeeper that they've come from didn't do their annual return. They're 2 years behind. They assume doing a tax return does the annual return. Well, that can only happen in certain provinces. Preparing yourself for the client type. Will they be dependent or independent on you? And what I'm saying for that is, I mean, those 2 words are respectfully talking about how much administrative tasks they're going to be expecting from you. How many government contacts are they going to be expecting from you? How many forms are you going to be filling out? This is the poll number 2 again. Have you ever had a client tell you, I thought you were doing that? 61% of you said yes. 39% of you said no. And 73% of you that are participating voted. Again, that's a high percentage. You obviously are feeling the same pain I feel. You feel a disappointment in not doing a service for the client that they were expecting, but how are you to know if you don't list it? Well, in this bookkeeper's quote, we like to believe that we have everything covered. By all means, we're putting it out there for you guys. If there's something you want to add, we're all, by all means, going to be adding it. So anyway, preparing for that dependent and independent client. The tendency for them to expect without communication, you'll know more now by interviewing them. Profile your client to determine the workload that's to come. Do you want to take them all on? If you're a one-man business and you have already 5 year ends in December, do you want to take 5 more? Like, these are all the things that you're going to learn to manage by taking on a quote with the client. So again, this might scare you. You're going to see 33 profile questions appearing. Yes, 33. But most of them, they're a standard default answer are provided for all 33. It's more providing you the opportunity to be flexible with your client. I've had them do a print screen, Kelly and Dave. Hello, Kelly. He did a print screen for me to ensure that I brought attention to the applicable tax rate. As you can see, the tasks that start are very straightforward. What's your bookkeeping hourly rate going to be for this client? Maybe it's going to be a standard rate for all your clients, but based on timing, based on you find out when they come in that their year end is already passed, they're on deadline with the government, you might decide you want to charge more by the hour. Your year-end compliance, your assurance rate. Again, you guys, this is a teaching opportunity for me. I'm going to have trouble not teaching you this. My team tells me that we might have to do 2 more webinars, considering I want to help you get really comfortable with not the software. You're going to find the software so easy. It's you understanding how to utilize it. I want you to look at that little question mark to the left of the number 1 and the left of the number 2. Those question marks are going to provide you valuable, helpful hints on how to communicate to the client or how to prepare this quote. At one time, you might eventually find you're not using that question mark. I don't know. I've been testing this thing for 2 months, and I still like to go slide over that little question mark. So going to, let me just get caught up, you guys. The tax rate. There are other areas within the quote. If you find that you like to add your sales tax and then possibly a provincial or state tax after, there's other areas. Or you can just combine both rates here, make an adjustment for it on the contract, but that we'll be touching on later. Thank you guys for your patience. I know you probably are thinking all the workload you have today. I'm hoping that I can show you that this time you're investing in a quote is going to provide you more efficiency, better relationships with your clients later. There's some items on the step 1 that help you move more efficiently with the use of the quote, and I selected some. The number 5, the report periods. This is something you're going to want to use when you want to manipulate the number of months. In a seasonal quote, when a client comes and tells you there's a busier period in their year than another, so you may actually do 1 full quote and then make adjustments. The report sessions, this is again the number of sales tax or regulatory reports that you're going to be doing, but you're not going to include employee tax slips here or income tax returns here. The privacy assured session, this is one session that I'm surprised in my testing with everyone. So many of you are not charging your clients for you to assure your workstation is clear of other people's work. Some of you actually were honest enough to tell me that you've worked on your station. We don't, anybody else listening, that you actually have 2 files on your desk at the same time. Under the privacy assurance, I have to encourage you, you have to clean up your workstation. You have to have only your 1 client on your desk. Now, in the event you're traveling to your client, you do want to allow for that session, planning that session prior to prepare maybe your briefcase or even your tools that you're going to be bringing to that site. This takes time for that too. Contact with your management of the company. Well, that could include even contact on behalf of them with various agencies. That's included. Number 15, this is a unique one, and a lot of us don't charge our clients for this. This is those receipts that come that are folded or not even necessary. I have so many bookkeepers that start with me, and they're always surprised to see right out of the university trying to do a client and they see lingerie for the wife being snuck in. You know, these are receipts that you shouldn't be using in the business. So charging them for the touching of them or the sorting of them, there's a nominal cost that I want you to start considering in that. Knowing your client by talking to them about the processes of how you're going to get through the compiling of the information or the chaining of the information. Again, selecting some more items. There's going to be a poll to follow, so I just wanted to get them on screen for you so you could see what I'll continue to discuss them. The 16 and 17 item number of the quote is talking about non-statement bundle count, the non-statement bundle process count. Now that terminology is non-accounting terminology. With the help of some valuable resources, we're going to say that's cash receipts. You know, when they come into you and you have to bundle them, how many times you're going to have to do, we suggest doing ad tapes. It's the cheapest and fastest way if the vendor reporting of those cash receipts is not necessary. And how many times you're going to put them into your synoptic system like Simply Accounting or QuickBooks. Number 22, your compliance backup. The average number of journal entry sessions rather than time at work will ensure you maintain the electronic data and record your session notes to ensure continuity and communication. This compliance backup, I'm surprised so many people don't realize that it's part of the Income Tax Act that you have an electronic version and a paper backup of all your journal entries, whether it's PDF, but you do have to have an electronic version. So a backup session is important, at least at the year end. There should be a disk sitting. So the poll, number 3, by the way, guys, did you ever issue checks for your clients? Payments issued by the bookkeeper. This is one very, very interesting experience. If you're doing the check from the synoptic system and you're just pushing the button to issue the check, there takes no time with that. Slipping it in the envelope could easily be counted in the time it does the journal entry. But if you're actually issuing a manual check or an online check or doing remittances, this is timely. Well, 71% of you that are attending, no, 73% of you voted. 71% of you that voted say you do issue the checks for your clients. 29% of you say no. So I'm wondering how many of you are charging for the time to issue those payments. Again, sometimes we just say at the end of the day, we go, 2 hours, what did I do? This quote is going to provide you the opportunity to show the client what all you do for them. 30 and 31, the prepared transaction report and the number of submissions of prepared transactions. For all of you out there that are interested in the new technology, the downloading of bank statements, I just love this idea. This is going to be such a wonderful saving tool for our clients. We could even teach them if the software gets friendly enough to the non-user. This is where you're having to allow for time to compile that information into a readable format. Recognize maybe some compliance issues based on vendors' names or based on dollar amounts and the number of submissions you're going to have to do of those entries. These are a popular quote for us here because we do a lot of clients that are home preparers. They like to learn how to do their own. We are a teaching environment as well. So the prepared transaction report and the number of submissions of those prepared transactions reports would be important if you want to be doing year-end quotes. Management ledgers, that's my favorite tool. When we talk about simplified ledger that C2 Online invented, it's a standard format in Excel that provides codes for the client. It's a plus and minus recording system to do books. We have so many clients using that method. And Excel, being a great filtering method, it's quick to find mistakes. So we're getting that timing included in the quote by including that list. Knowing your client, again, are they going to be that kind of client that you're going to be training? And you'll see this profiling your client, you'll get an ease through those 33 questions. I've only touched on the ones that I feel are not standard, but I want you to be aware of them. Step 2, this is only 12 bookkeeping interview questions, and now we're talking about actually getting to the actual bookkeeping that the client's going to want from you. Are they going to want you to do just their invoices at the end of the year? Remembering the previous screen, the 33 questions had default answers. This screen does not have any default answers. We want you actually putting in a 0 or a 1. So the red marks, I don't know why red is such a popular number to warn everybody. I guess everybody hates red. When you're in the red, you're overdrawn, or when you're in, anyway, we're not going to go any further. Indicates required field. So the red little star that Kelly and Dave have put there for us is going to warn us that if we don't have a number there, at least even a 0, you're going to get popped out. It won't update. You have to go in there and put something. Notice as you go forward onto, or further down, pardon me, the one item I wanted to bring attention to is the sorting of paperwork. It's just a yes and a no. By selecting yes or no, then by you answering the input information which follows, it will do the proper count of how to sort the information in the appropriate months or with the statements. So where are we here? So I'm just trying to get caught up. Our Step 1 manual on a, sorry, I'm just a plug here. Helpful tool, Step 1 manual, SKU number SF093. Cheap way for the client to know how to bring stuff to you. That Step 1 manual is something I created in 1986. Yeah, and it's really a great tool. If you haven't looked at it, if you're a subscriber, please take the time to look at it, because this could save your client money if they want to, or the wife wants to, or one of their junior bookkeepers wants to. So this is first where you're going to recognize what the bookkeeping needs are. Are you going to be doing invoicing, payroll? Are you going to have to sort? Are you going to be traveling to their office? And again, Kelly and Dave made sure we had a field that deals with the things that just aren't thought of today yet. So you have that additional charges or discounts. The function within the program, you guys, I'm, again, very, very concerned more about you understanding the uses of the quote. You are going to find that the buttons, the little blue buttons, the next, the back to my quotes, these are easy. It's such an easy software. I just love it. Kelly and Dave have done such a great job. So I'm staying away from that. I'm still focusing on what I want to teach you. I want to teach you how to do a quote. So the client bookkeeping interview. You're going to be seeing a poll launched. I'm going to continue to talk. Yay. Yay for me. Sorry for you. The client customer invoice is outstanding, or the client vendor's invoice is outstanding, or the inventory outstanding. These are all things, if you're not having to enter them on a routine basis that is chosen for this client, whether they choose to have you do their stuff quarterly, monthly, semi-annually, or annually. Obviously, annually, you'd be entering them all at year-end anyway. But so many of our clients are paper conscious still. They don't care about an automated report on the accounts receivable or the accounts payable, or even their inventory. They have this manual system, or they have an internal system at home. So the concept is the charging to do the year-end compiling has got to be charged time setting differently. Whether you're going to be doing their invoicing for their revenue, or their bills that are outstanding, or their inventory purchases, doing that monthly, doing that quarterly, these are all taken into consideration as a time setting difference. Dealing with salaried employees and non-salaried employees. By answering that question, I'm glad to see that some of you are still all here. It sounds like our participation hasn't even dropped off. Thank you. I take that as a huge compliment, you guys. Thank you. So just going into poll number 4. Do you try to have your client provide the paperwork in a certain manner to eliminate your sorting time? Thank you, guys. 73% of you say yes, so you know about helping the client save time and remove some of those unnecessary receipts. 27% of you that voted said no. Some of you aren't voting still. What's wrong with you? Wake up. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, so back to the salaried employees and non-salaried employees. This question really is to deal with if you're going to be doing their annual tax totals. So, you know, if you're not going to be touching their payroll at all, it's being treated just as a bank transaction, you're going to be dealing with that counting later in the operating account. Paydays per year. Again, the timing differences between a salaried employee and a non-salaried employee. By you selecting the paydays per year, if you've identified salaried and non-salaried employees, this quote will make allowance for those ones that, of course, a commissioned employee and a hourly employee, those withholdings change every payday. So there's a time setting difference. A salaried employee, the transaction timing for that, so much less. Travel, taking into consideration your distance and your time charges. This is giving you the freedom of distributing your own kilometer or mileage charge. And again, we're talking about that whatever. So step 3, the operating accounts interview questions. This is where really the guts happens, you guys. This is really important if you want to talk about the transaction. And you guys might get to the point where you get through this quote so quickly that you're going right to this spot. When I'm dealing with the year-end quote, there's very little that I'm touching ahead of time. If I'm just doing the payroll, there's very little I'm touching. So the flexibility within this quote, the 33 questions always scares everybody, but this is the guts right here. So remembering again, sorry, am I talking too fast? Remembering again, the red, the star indicates that you have to put something in those fields. And don't do what I still do after testing it for 2 months. Click Add Account. Like if I can, tonight you're going to wake up in the middle of the night and say, she said add account, she said add account, because that is a feature that I still, so it's important. Of course, the warning will come up if you go forward and you haven't put at least none or 0, respectively, in each of the selections of the operating accounts. It will warn you where you have to go back and add. There's no default values. We want you putting in values. Primarily, this is where the inputting all happens. This is where the transaction numbers happen. How many transactions are happening per month out of the statement accounts? Now, again, the question marks, you'll see the question marks are appearing always beside the left side of every number. I unfortunately did this print screen before Kelly and Dave inserted the questions for me on the 1, 3, and 4, but they are there. So by sliding your mouse over those question symbols, they will give you instructions. The non-statement account, again, this is relating to the processing bundle. You know, how many times you're going to assemble those processing bundles is going to be based on how many cash receipts they're giving you. So listing every source, if there's an owner, if there's different employees that provide employee reports that you have to reimburse for. The interest of putting investment, loan, and lease accounts. Oh, you guys, there's so many businesses out there now getting into investments within their corporation. It's driving me crazy. Dividends are being taxed at like the highest tax rate. But anyway, getting off taxes, talking about how important it is to get them to give you every one of their investment accounts. Because there's transaction compiling that has to be done, matched tax reports. So there's work there. You have to identify them. The loan and the lease accounts, those all have to be matched, interest, principal. Whether you do it for journal entry or at the end of the year, you have to identify them for the quote. The insurance company name. Now, this is one understanding this. People say, why do I want to know the insurance company? I'm finding it easier to complete a set of records for a client if I know who their insurance companies are and how many assets they have and what they're supposed to be having with those insurance companies. Prepaid items, making an allowance for the asset use report at the end of the year when you're deciding how much of that asset is being used by someone else. You have a clear mapping to who has records of their assets and their business liability coverages, because there is a lot of reporting to those items. So we're to the time settings, and I've left this one to the last because I want you guys to trust me in this. By all means, there's going to be some of you out there that are faster and slower, and you're charging out differently, so you're allowing for the time difference. These time settings have been researched in this office since 1994, when I realized that I don't want to justify a bill for a client from one year to the next when nothing really changed in that client's books. All that changed was the bookkeeper. So I created standard billing in 1994, and I did many walks around my office with my staff, talking to them about the time it took them to do certain things. So these standard time settings I've created, these time values apply to all your quotes. There's to the left of your screen, you see the picture. You do not need to change these, but you may set your own. But please decide to do that once you understand how they apply, or at least print that page and play with it all you want. But then go back and put the times in if you're not happy with the time settings. There are code values that apply to each time setting. So the code and description are easily be able to transfer to, and you'll see how we've got that happening in Simply Accounting and QuickBooks. The code being put through the list item or the inventory item helps you go relate it to the contract. So the code on the time settings relates to the contract, relates to the question mark, when we were, I forgot to mention that, sorry. Step 1, Step 2, Step 3, the little question mark has the codes that relate to that actual task. So all code values are set in minutes. There's advantages for invoicing with using code values and descriptions. So we're just going to launch our poll, and I get to talk still. The contract, unfortunately, you're not looking at it now, but the relationship to the way the quote is built provides opportunity to lay out the separate sections of the quote. And the reason for that is because you might do separate areas. You might do just year-end. You might do just regulatory for them. You might only do the posting of their outstanding invoices. A popular one, you only do the payroll. So I really wanted the quote to deal with certain sections of the services you provide. The color that you're seeing, well, you aren't seeing now, you might be sharing the screen with me again. The blue and the yellow, you'll see the yellow strip. It's actually the code that matches the descriptions. So you're still, the poll was, by the way, have you ever had to represent your quote because there was an increase or decrease in the fees? Of course. 70% of you say yes. So by breaking out the way you are quoting to the basis of saying the contact, you know, you've had to spend more time with them at the counter, you've had to contact them more for information, having all those, or your matching of information, having the quote breaking out the various tasks that you have to do with them will make it easier to justify your quote. So again, quote value provides the advantage for invoicing. Again, thank you guys for your participation. Like, it's great. I can see that you're still with us. So in this screen, we've shown how the code, the yellow bars, come to, like, so on the left side, you see the time settings, and on the right side, you see the contract print screen. You insert this into your personalized invoicing, the description listed with the code from the time settings. By all means, you could probably copy-paste it. We've been doing it for testing, so you should be able to copy-paste it into your own invoice in Excel, or, of course, your feature through QuickBooks and Simply Accounting. QuickBooks and Simply Accounting provides a quick customizing. I'm just going to go forward to that. This is QuickBooks. Thank you, QuickBooks. We are showing you an invoice from the print screen. By the way, it's a licensed version. One of our organizers here is a licensed user of QuickBooks, so this was not a stolen print screen. The QuickBooks, setting up the codes in the items list, you'll see by the question mark, and you'll notice the description, set up new chart of accounts, that's the SU code, and then the contract cost, of course, would appear on the invoice. Now, Simply Accounting, again, a licensed user here, setting up the codes through the inventory and service list, using the item number and the item description and the cost, provides you that ability. And I've actually got all these codes in my Synoptics. So it's a quick SU and it shows up. I don't have to type it every time. So really great, quick method. Fits with our billing system, which, by the way, I'm hoping to automate. There's so many things I want to automate, you guys. You're never going to get bored of me, or you're going to get tired of my voice, but you'll like to see the products. Matching the code and description on time settings and matching the code on the cost on the bookkeeper quote. You'll see that's the actual printed invoice. We reproduced it in QuickBooks and Simply Accounting. They're quite similar. So that's a feature. That's quick quote, using Simply Accounting, using QuickBooks, using your own method. So I'm getting a symbol. I'm going to say, what is it, number 22? Okay, so someone wants me to go back to slide 22, so we're going to go there. The contract. Okay. You want me to talk about the contract more. The basis of the contract provides the personalized heading on the top. It provides the number of months in the report, provides the hourly rate. It also even provides the number of papers that were projected to be used, as well as projected that were going to be for that period. It's going to allow the opportunity for it to identify if this is a brand new client to your office. It's a 3-page document. Again, it breaks out every section by the codes, by the amount for period and non-period. So a budget cost for the items that you might do by the month and the items you might do for the year or for random selections by the client's request. There has a signing. There is a signature location. Also the conditions of the quote saying, how many days it's going to arrive. It definitely is printable. It requires a signature. Every part of this quote is printable. Step 1, Step 2, Step 3, the contract, the time setting. All you do is print it. Right-click, it prints. So the contract itself, we even produced a flexible part within the conditions that you would attach an invoice to indicate if you want to restrict the arrival of certain information. If you want to do the payroll with a 7-day pullback, or you want their regulatory reports, the GST, the sales tax returns, the any kind of information, you want that information to arrive at your office 15 days before it's due. There's probably enough to give you an idea that the contract itself will lay out everything about the quote. And it provides the flexibility of you introducing your own information. So we're satisfied? Okay. Sorry, hope that was better. Okay, so I'm going back to our thank you screen. Our question and answer, sorry, I rambled on so much, I didn't even deal with any questions. We definitely want to look at some questions today. First of all, I want to thank you for attending. I hope I've given you some valuable tips. Even if you choose not to buy our online, at least some tips for you to use internally yourself. Keep an eye on us, though. You're going to find you're going to want to buy from us eventually because there is so much stuff that I'm going to be putting on. There's going to be the year-end checklist, our bookkeeper's call report, helping you guys do a proper accountability to the client to get that wrap-up of the year-end better. The government slip season, starting in November, ending in February, that's going to be automated. There's just so much. Our office and home calculator, that's going online. These things are going to happen because I'm paying for them for my own office. So it's just about sharing with you guys. And most of you, if you haven't heard of Lisa by now, she's going to be announcing them to you. So keep in touch with us, please. So join our mailing list. Stay on top of our latest products and our tax strategy and information. And please do a short survey. Please do not be afraid to be critical of me. I do like to talk. I don't have a problem doing consults. But whatever you can tell me, I mean, the most popular complaint is always, I talk way too fast. So if you want to say that even at least, any feedback from you would be appreciated. So if we can go to the question and answer slide. So we're going to unmute, which sounds a little scary because we could all start talking at the same time. You want them to raise their hand if you have some questions, and she'll bring you into the question and answer. So I guess at this time, just opening up, sorry you guys, I'm just getting some help with technology here. There's a lot of thanks is coming up. That's great, you guys, but we really want to see some questions. Let me just get this open here. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble chewing bubble gum and walking. Okay. This one. If you could just allow us a moment here, we'll get the catch-up of everything. Thank you guys for your patience. There we go. Sorry, I'm going to get better at this. Will this work with Account Edge? I would be lying if I said I knew for certain. Joel, by all means, we'll have to have a little research done with that. I'm going to ask our research and development department, and I can definitely answer that for you. Anybody interested in that, please provide your email. Contact us on the website, and I'll advise you. But any synoptic system that has an inventory method or a listing method of how to record an item that you sell often, or a listing system, should work. So it would be whether they have an inventory method. Someone's asking again, just to repeat, if the program is in sync with Simply Accounting or QuickBooks. It's not in sync in the sense that it downloads to Simply or QuickBooks. I mean, we haven't explored that with Simply or QuickBooks, but the actual text could be copy-pasted so that you could create the routine and that reoccurring request to do that invoicing from that. If you're already a subscriber to C2 Online, is there a discount? We're not looking at any discounts at this point. No,
they already have access.
You've already got access to it. It's included in the price. There's no additional cost. I just want to get to the top. I'm holding at the top here. Okay, so some have already been answered. Do you have a trial version to check it out better with hands-on? We haven't really incorporated that, Deborah, in the price. We believe that our tools, our numerous tools, and the quote itself is worth the $17.95 for 1 month. You can download all kinds of our tools. There's so much there for you. I'm sorry, I'm going to say that we're wanting you to spend $17.95. If once you spend that money, you're totally disgusted with the use of the program, you send me a contact email and I will talk to you, because I will want to know what I need to fix to make it better. That's how I trust it. I don't very often put myself out there, but I really love this quote, you guys. Every time I touched it, I felt happier and happier with it. So please take a chance on $17.95, because there's more there than just the quote. What do we need to do to try the software? Purchase it for the $17.95. Go online. You're having trouble accessing the quote system today. It might be because our software developers are just finishing up the last touches to it. Please, if by the end of this webinar, if you're still not being able to get onto the quote, let us know. Thank you, Barb. The 5 p.m. today, that webmaster. Can you explain again what you mean by 22, the compliance backup? The compliance backup is where you actually do a random check of what you've been doing for the client, or a recording per se, where you actually back up your data. The suggestion in our default is 100 journal entries. So many of you do a backup based on the end of the day session, and that's what I found when I was doing my testing with users out of my office, that you use your time of the day to do your backup. We suggest that you do it based on journal numbers. Now, we're suggesting 100. Some people use 50. But what you're going to be doing during that compliance backup is you're going to be backing up off the computer onto maybe a USB or a CD or DVD or whatever. You're going to be making notes about what you've done for the client. You print your session report, because you do have to have a paper backup for the tax department. Or you're going to have to do a PDF of it, so the time for that. I'm hoping that helps explain the compliance backup. And I call it compliance backup because it's really just, it's addressing the needs of the government as well as yourself, making sure that you're compliant for the client. You might even be taking a check at that time to see if it's the time that you've taken for your processing for that session. Does it match what your quote was supposed to be? What did you do more for them? What did you do less for them? And you know, when we go back to the poll about how many of you have had to go back and actually represent your quote because it's changed, whether it went up or down, 72% of you, 70% of you said you do. So this quote will help you draw attention exactly to what the charges are. The biggest contributed to an excess cost is follow-up to the client and contact to the client. So these compliance backups could even include your listing the stuff that you're still waiting for and what you had to do to get it. So many of you are still here. I'm not being motioned to say goodbye, so any other questions? I'm just going to try to get through the technology, and I love the opportunity to get used to this part because this is really only my second webinar, probably my 100th presentation, being 26 years doing this, but actually playing with the technology, being able to go out there and touch the automated world, I just love it. So having the opportunity to play with the methods is great. You're going to see more of me, or hear more of me, pardon me. Sounds like will lists have bookkeepers will be able to import into QuickBooks. You know, that question about in future, will lists from the bookkeepers quote be able to import? We'd love to be able to export to QuickBooks and Simply Accounting, of course. Those are things that we're pursuing. We want to create some alliances. They've been in the business long enough, they could teach us some things as well. Okay. Is it totally worth at $17.95 on a month-to-month subscription? You know, that question, Holly, that's a good question because you have to know that once you go in and you pay the $17.95, you can cancel it any time you like. But your quotes that you've made online would not be there for you. They'd be gone. But printing them would provide you that ability to store that. You know, some of you are working out of your basement. Some of you are not charging enough. I would say just having you use it to see how valuable you are and how much you're doing for the client, it's got to be a good investment for $17.95. What if you work at the client's office on a network, a multi-user environment? How would you handle the backup compliance? That you're saying that I'm on a network, I'm on a multi-user environment. All you have to do is you got to make sure that you take it out of multi-user when you're going to do your backup. So put it to single user when you're doing your backup. Save as. That $17.95 is Canadian dollars. So, you know, at this time of our life, just about could be the same money. Some days could be a little less, but we are quoting it as $17.95 Canadian. We are a Canadian website, so that would be Canadian dollars. I'll take a couple more questions. Thank you for your participation. I really like that we're being provided this extra time with you. It shows that we haven't totally bored you and you're signing off. Is our client information encrypted and confidential? Who has access to the database? Our provider is exceptionally pro-privacy assurance. He knows how I am. I'm like, I do an annual shredded day in my community to be known as the privacy girl. This database is encrypted, is safe, all secure, all secure. Will you have discounts for members of groups like iHonest.com? You know, Gordon, that's a really good question. You know, when someone comes to me with a group that want to subscribe, I really do want you to talk to Lisa because, you know, you've taken the time to bring a bunch of people together and trust us. Why couldn't we give you a discount for sure? So do a contact us or get a hold of Lisa. Good question. Thank you, Gordon, for the rest of you. I understand that you take it out of single user mode to back up, but what up to the interruption to the other users? I guess, Margaret, you know, again, I'm wondering to the environment you're in, if there's that many users on the same software, you might be having a actual electronic, like a routine backup in your office already where the tapes are being made on its own. If you've got several users on one, that's what I've seen in a multi-user office, that they don't want to interfere with the users, so they have this backup system. So when we talk about a compliance backup for you, Margaret, maybe we're talking about you doing the continuity notes, you know, making sure you write your follow-ups, looking at printing the hard copy or putting it to PDF, storing it to your folder on your hard drive. Maybe there's no electronic need for you to do a backup to a DVD or a USB, but you probably have some sort of tape backup. I can't tell you there's never going to be an interruption to any other users by doing a backup, because there would be. If you've got 5 people working on that software at the same time as you, they're going to have to get off it for you to be able to back up. Our provider, Webminton Media, is our website host and handles all our servers. By all means, if you want more information about the security that he has, we can make sure that he gets in touch with you and provides you more detailed information. There is big concerns with that, of course, because the database would have the client's address, phone number, and name, but we're not even recording their federal or their corporation numbers. So the database itself is kind of like a phone book. You know, you're not really recording their banking information. You're saying where the bank is, but you don't have their bank account number. I'm not telling you that it's not secure, but you know, the relationship to the security is high. It has to be high tech for me because I'm pro privacy, but there might be a little bit of attention. Anyway, so I'm going to come down. A lot of you are saying it's enough. You're thankful that I'm coming to an end. The phone number to our website is 780-939-5028. But of course, we're a website business. If you do get a no answer, please do leave a message. We have someone checking that phone on a regular basis. My office itself is a different number, but that is the website number. YouTube. Someone's asking about YouTube. Yes, we're going to be launching this on YouTube for those of you that missed it. Thank you, Diane Helmers, for that. And again, I'm saying goodbye. Thanks for attending. Watch out for more to come.